Do you remember 21st night, September? Love was changing the minds, pretend.
Good morning. It's is it Friday?
Yes, it's Friday.
Oh my god, it's Friday morning at 10 a.m. and we just left our apartment to make our way to the train station to go for our first walking tour of the morning of the day. It is very cold. It is colder than I expected because I feel a bit bad because I told these two that it will be t-shirt weather, but apparently it isn't. So yeah, we're gonna grab some breakfast somewhere first, and then we're going to the train station. The apartment is very nice. It's quite nice. It's much better. It's 10,000 times better than my previous apartment.
And at least 50 times better than our Berlin apartment.
Oh, you mean the internet? Yeah. So yeah, so far this neighborhood seems quite quirky. Yeah, we'll see what happens today.
As we dance in the night, remember how the stars stole the night away. Oh yeah.
We're standing in front of the St. Michael's fountain here.
Fontaine Saint-Michel.
That, yes. Waiting for our walking tour to start. So what's the expectations of this walking tour?
No expectations.
Very good.
Something historical?
Something historical with a touch of theatrics, I find. Slight touch, not
Hopefully warmer weather.
Oh, it is so cold. It is so cold.
Already noticed, but there are lots of pickpockets in the city. What they do is they'll come out with a clipboard in front of them and they'll ask you to sign for, world peace, to end hunger, all that. Obviously that's not going to happen if you sign the clipboard. Instead what's going to happen is they're going to slip their hand into your back pocket and take out your wallet. Be very careful of these people come along, and because I'll be leading us through the city, I'll be able to see them. So I usually have a little bit of a code word to let you know if these people are coming. And generally what I say is thieves. Thieves on the top of my voice, then keep your hands in your pockets and don't sign anything that you're given. Alright? You're right in the middle of the island in the middle of the River Seine, which is right in the middle of the city. Paris literally grows in a circle out from the island in the middle of the River Seine. So you're very much in the middle of the city now. And so now would be a good time to tell you what this island is called. And somewhat disappointingly, it's called the Island of the City. That's the best that they come up with, Ile de la Cité, and that's where you are right now. Now it's one of only two naturally formed islands in the River Seine, in this part of the River Seine in Paris. The other one is right behind this island, and it's called the Island of Saint Louis, Ile Saint Louis. Now Saint Louis is a nice island, very expensive island to live on, but it's good for one thing in particular, and that is ice cream. I need to make a confession at this point of the tour, and that is that most of the Paris that you're going to see today isn't very representative of the old Paris, or the real Paris, as some people like to call it. And there's a reason for this, and the reason is that Paris is a relatively modern city. By European standards, it's actually a very, very new city, and that's because it was pretty much nearly rebuilt during the second half of the 1800s. But no, in fact, this is built for a very specific purpose, and the reason is to house the relics of the crown of thorns, which were placed on Christ's head during his execution by the Romans. King Louis IX, who was King of France at the time, believed that these relics still survived, and he went to Venice to buy them from the Venetians. Legend has it that when the relics came up to Paris, Louis, a king no less, wears penitential clothing, takes off his shoes, and walks barefoot to the edge of the city, takes the crown of thorns in his hands, just a couple of thorns now, I should emphasize that, it's no longer a crown anymore, and then he brings it back here and places it in this chapel, which is specifically built to house the crown of thorns. But it doesn't start off its life as a museum, it starts off its life, in fact, as a fortress in the walls of Paris. So the walls of Paris used to start just around here, and there was a fortress just over there. In the 1500s, it becomes a castle, and it's made into a castle by a man called Francis I, who was the King of France at the time. But one of the kings who's most associated with this place is a man called Louis XIV. Anyone familiar with Louis XIV? The Sun King, exactly. Louis XIV is the Sun King. This is him here. As you can see, he was rather fond of his legs. And there is a good reason. He was the dancing king I once accidentally called him the Dancing Queen. I think he was rolling in his grave when he heard that. He was like dancing. He loved ballet. He used to do lots of ballet all day long. So he's very fond of his legs. The Lonely Planet did some research and they tried to figure out how long it would take to see everything in the Louvre. And they reckon that if you went to see every piece of art and even just looked at it for 1 to 2 seconds, and then moved to the next one, look at it for 1 to 2 seconds, and you factor in the time that it takes to walk around the museum like this. And that's literally the pace you like. They reckon it would take 9 months to see everything in the Louvre. So good luck fitting that into your weekend break.
Oh, I want to see everything.
So what I usually say is if you're visiting the Louvre, have a plan of action, have a strategy, decide what you're interested in, and then go to that. Don't stroll around the Louvre and say, yeah, I'll just see 1 or 2 things, because you'll end up seeing nothing or getting lost and stuck in there forever.
Our shadows are so long. Go to the right. How do you feel about the
Eiffel Tower?
The Eiffel Tower?
I'm
Not that we're seeing-
sufficiently in awe.
It looks better at night. Fun?
It's alright. For a radio tower, it's alright.
Okay, we're finally here. This was a trip that took 10 years, I think. Yeah, we are at the base of the Eiffel Tower, as you can see. Let me lower it. Boom, Eiffel Tower. Yeah, but then we realized that it's very hot, so we're gonna come back at night and look at it when it's glowing orange. So now we're just taking photos, and yeah, I'm sending a video so that my friends can find me. Fun? How's your exploration? What's with the sign?
It was marred by those petition signing.
Oh, there's a lot, eh? A lot, see. So the plan is we're going to climb up until the first tower, the first part. Then we just take a look around the city. Then we come down.
At night lah.
At night lah. Okay.
And now we go to Gallery. No, we're not.
Where is it?
Montmartre tour.
Montmartre.
Not Gallery Lafayette.
No, Gallery Lafayette is tomorrow. Yeah, as you can see, it's very hot in Paris. It's like sunny like crazy. But I'm still wearing a jacket lah. But it's just a very light jacket. One is completely not wearing a jacket. One is being Parisian with his stripes.
The jacket's here. Shades, stripes.
One's not too Parisian is his hat.
But it's trying to take a good from below
Selfie.
is impossible. But that's the only way to get the Eiffel Tower in the shot. Oh, my tensions came out in the shot.
Okay, so achievement unlocked. We've reached. Okay, we're now making our way to the train station that will bring us to Montmartre for our next walking tour. We're just done with Eiffel Tower. We're gonna make our way there. It's quite exciting. We did a lot of selfies, like actual tourists. We might come back at night though to look at the Eiffel Tower when it's glowing orange. Yeah.
When you go through this blue door, you'll be in a courtyard where you have a 5-story building. On the 5th floor is where the brother of Vincent by the name of Theo van Gogh used to live. So this is also where Vincent van Gogh spent a year and a half out of the 2 years that he spent in Paris. And for those of you who are wondering why just a year and a half and why didn't he spend here the entire 2-year period, I mean, what's wrong with his brother? It's not his brother. Living with Vincent van Gogh was not the easiest thing to do. Okay, so after only a year and a half, Theo was ready to kick him out of the apartment and make him move to the other side of the hill. And this is exactly what happened.
Do you remember 21st night, September? Love was changing the minds, pretenders. while chasing the clouds away. Our hearts were ringing in the key that our souls were singing as we dance in the night. Remember.
But you know, like aiming at yourself with a shotgun, it's really hard to do. So he was trying to figure it out for quite some time, you know, like, okay, this is how it works. I guess this is what I'm supposed to do. When he finally, you know, like managed to get it the right way, he said, like, no, I cannot do it. He was like, no, but I have to do it. No, but I cannot do it. No, I have to do it. So at the very end, he decides to, you know, like man up, and he pulls the trigger. And as he pulls the trigger, he freaks out. So he trembles and he misses his heart. He didn't miss his body though. He shot himself in the very center of the chest. So instead of dying right away by shooting himself in the heart, he spent the entire night in the middle of the fields going through the worst agony you can ever possibly imagine. On the next morning, he was found by some kids that were running around and were, you know, like playing, and they heard him screaming. So he was taken to the hospital. At the very same time, like everyone realized who he was. So they called his brother Theo. Theo managed to reach Saint-Remy in less than 3 hours. He went straight to the bed of, you know, like Vincent. He started holding him in his arms, and he asked him why. I don't understand. Things were finally going to work out for you. This was the stupidest thing you could have ever done. Why would you do this? This is when Vincent simply looked into his eyes, and the only thing he said, the pain is going to last forever. And he died.
How the stars stole the night away.
Our dinner at this place recommended by our tour guide, and we are sitting like the Parisians, ready. One is sitting beside me.
I'm drinking wine,
Fahan is sitting beside me,
reading a guide.
reading a guide, and I'm sniffing. Yeah, so we're gonna have dinner at this place, which apparently has huge salads. So we'll see, it's good. I'm sure it's good. After that, we're going to go next door for some drinks, and then we're going to get crepes with Nutella and banana.